Welcome you all for day 2 session of online workshop on patent drafting procedures along with the importance of copyright and trademarks. So let us go with a small recap of about the yesterday's session. Let us have the overview what are all we have discussed so far, and we can start the basic fundamentals from introduction to intellectual property rights, followed by we have seen some of the simple examples of intellectual property, or in other way around we can say it is a simple inventions that gave effective market potential we have discussed, followed by we have seen some creative boosting techniques which is easy or we can say effective to develop the new inventions, followed by we have seen various forms of IPR or variants of IPR, and among us we understood the core importance of patents, followed by we have seen the prior art search for the inventions, and specifically we have seen some of the how this Google search works, followed by we have seen the specific free and paid databases for patents, and slowly we have understood the various free databases how that could be effectively handled. Today we are going to discuss about patent filing procedure and the drafting basics of patent filing. So as we know the patent filing concern, we need to understand few basic fundamental things about patents. The four most important thing is most of the forms that we need to communicate to the patent office, it is in English and it is almost everything is self-explanatory, but we need to understand how those entities will work, or what are all the basic fundamentals which we should know before proceeding into patent filing, or filling the forms can be carried out by knowing these fundamental entities. Let me introduce few simple terms that which we need to understand before proceeding to fill any patent form. You need to understand the basic three entity. First one is ordinary application, convention application, and PCT NP application. Let us discuss the basics about ordinary application. Ordinary application is the one which we are filing for the first time in the host country. For us concerned, ordinary application means you are filing the patent first time in India. In this case, you could see the identity of ordinary application, that is, as we have discussed in prior art search, it shouldn't be published elsewhere in any format, right? That is a core thing which we need to understand. The core thing which we need to proceed before applying is ordinary application. It can be of two basic types. One is provisional filing and another one is complete filing, that we'll discuss in detail in the upcoming sessions. Now you can see ordinary application, in that sense it is the first time we are applying in the host country, that is India. Then what is convention application? As a term says it's convention, it is not belongs to the host country. Here and I'll give you few identities which you need to know clearly. We cannot file convention application directly. Please understand. If you have the product or novel process developed in India, you can have two methods, or I can say two permissions through which you can go ahead for filing it as a convention application. One, first you need to file patent in India. After 6 weeks, you can go ahead and file in any of the convention countries. Other than India, all are stated to be the convention countries. Please be clear about it. Any foreign filing, it is considered to be convention application mode. Okay. The next thing is, if you are developing a novel product or novel process, if it doesn't have any market viability in India, for example, you are developing the gloves for uh, very high, or I can say the cold, the chillest climate, which most of the times India may not be facing it. In that case, that product is merely a simple invention to India, but it is very very hard to have the market here in India. So that could be the one choice where you can request the government through foreign filing license. It is a separate license we need to request our patent office, stating I need to file directly patent in Greenland or something other than India. Please provide the approval. And as I mentioned, you need to state it doesn't have any market viability in India. We should be very very clear about it. For all the applications, India won't allow you to proceed for foreign filing directly, because as Indian origin product or process, it should be have market in India, because as we know, economically that is the good stand for any nation. But if there is no market potential, we can request our patent office to provide the approval to file in convention countries. Okay, this is the two ways wherein you can go for convention country filing. And third mode, here in term it as PCT and PCTNP. First, I will give the glimpse here. In detail, we will discuss what is PCT and what is the use of PCT in detail. Here, PCT means Patent Cooperation Treaty, and NP stands for National Phase. I'll give a small glimpse about it. PCT is the treaty signed between 152 plus countries all over the world, just to speed up the process. Please be clear. It doesn't mean it is an international patent. Please be clear about it. There is no patent term called international patent. As we discussed from the beginning, it is belongs to territorial or specific regime or national alone. So why then this PCT plays a role? It acts as a nodal body for giving a platform for us to file in many countries through the PCT mode to speed up the process of examination is the core requirement of PCT, right? So while filling the form 1, or I'll show what are the form 1 and how it looks. While filling it, you need to understand these three entities very very clearly. One is ordinary application, PCT national phase application, and convention application. And herein I'll give you the differences as well. You can see the provisional patent filing and complete patent filing, right? This provisional patent filing is applicable only for ordinary applications. In other way around, I can state it as only for national phase Indian applications alone. In PCT mode or in convention mode, there is no option for provisional patent filing. Only we can go ahead and file it as a complete patent filing. Okay, let us discuss in detail what is provisional, what is complete, and what are all the required forms should be submitted. All those things let us discuss in detail. And as well, you need to understand two more terms as well, that is patent of division or divisional patent, and next one, patent of addition. Let us discuss in detail about all those facts. Let me start with provisional application or provisional patent filing. As the term says, provisional means we are very much aware that it is for limited time period, or another way around I can term it as it is a temporary application. It is valid for very specific time period. It is not considered to be the complete application for any patent to get granted. Please be aware of it. There is no room here for getting patent grant. I will just brief you that. A temporary application which is filled when the invention is not finalized and is still under experimentation. Please clear these terms. Please be aware of these terms very clearly. It doesn't mean that you don't have any final result, but you can achieve the final result as you have expecting, right? Only simple idea, if you are filing it as a provisional patent, then it's of no use. That idea should be converted into a novel product or process. Only during that time this provisional application played the vital role. Okay, you have developed some technique and you are experimenting it, you are waiting for the result, or you are as per the result concern. For sure you can achieve the final result within 6 months or maximum of 12 months, because this provisional filing valid only for just 12 months. For sure you need to go ahead and file complete patent filing within 12 months time. Is it clear? So valid for 12 months, full develop the fully develop the invention and ascertain its market potential. And if so, what is the use and need of provisional patent? See, we have an idea, and during that idea, we have filed it as a patent for a shorter duration, which gives the right for the patent holder or patentee will. I'll explain those terms in detail. Patent holder to get the priority date. Even I'll explain what is priority date. Priority date is very simple. Whenever you are launching an application or filing an application in a patent office, that date is termed to be priority. Okay, first you need to understand what you are going to do for this 12 months. You can assess the product viability in the market, as well as you can do the testings or experimenting your invention in a real time manner, right? But please ensure that you are not disclosing it to the public. If someone is getting copied your invention, if they are easily modified and filing it as a complete filing, please understand, if they do even small modification to your invention, you cannot claim it as a your patent. But you can give for lab testings, all those things, but don't disclose the entire content. Please be clear about it. But here the author can establish the priority right over the invention, right? Another way around, we can use the term patent pending on the product. But the thing is, patent pending you can claim because you have filed a provisional patent, so that people may afraid to copy your invention. That is the core reason why you can go ahead and file for provisional filing. Please be sure about it. You are not filed the complete application of the patent, but the product is an off the way of completion. So you want to protect others from copying it. That is the main motivation of going ahead for provisional patent filing. And again, as the cost wise, we can say it is less expensive to prepare and file the application, and which enables the applicant to file international application and claim priority within 12 months. Again, this is also, you can claim the priority before this 12 months, or I can say from the state of 12 months. For grant must be followed by the complete specification within 12 months. This is the most important part which you need to understand very clearly. None of the patent gets granted or published for provisional application. Please be clear about it. Only for the complete specification you can go ahead and get the publication and the grant of any patent. Herein, we are protecting it during our testing period. We are protecting that no one can copy our invention. That is the only aim or motto of going ahead for provisional application. Okay, so it is be clear. This is the state of provisional application. Should be sufficiently detailed and must be drafted very carefully to ensure that priority rights are secured for your invention. That is the again most important thing. Herein, what we are understood is we are giving the complete details as much as you know, because the complete filing should followed by the provisional should have the entire detail only within the provisional application scope. Please understand that scope term. If you are applying some invention stating, I'll give one example as well. Assume you are applying for a pen invention, and specifically you are working with the pen ink, right? You may create some pen which can have two different state. For example, pen refill consists of solid as well as gel as well as ink. Assume this is your invention. You need to give the complete description about this in the provisional patent filing itself, right? Wherein, if you are changing it to complete refill with solid gel in your complete patent filing, it is not comes under the scope of this provisional application. You cannot change the content as such completely than this provisional application content. Please be sure about it, or else you cannot claim the priority. It should be of within the scope of this provisional application to proceed to the complete specification. So let us move towards complete specification application or complete specification. In ordinary application, you can claim the priority and the convention countries without any reference to any other application under the process in the office. What does it mean? That it really been claimed only in the first phase. That is, this claim, or I can say only in first time we can go ahead and file the ordinary application. For any other, we need reference, or you can have it in this way. If you are going for other countries, for sure you need to give the references. First time application only term to be ordinary application. We have discussed this is conventional as well. It is the foreign filing other than India. And the third term, as I discussed, let us discuss in detail about PCT, Patent Cooperation Treaty. Seeking protection for an invention in around 153 countries throughout the world, please understand, only as a nodal body. PCT doesn't have any rights to give or approve the patent for any individual or any person. They can give or act as a nodal body. Then what is the advantage? Let me give one example here, then I'll proceed with the content of PCT. You know very well, the most of them would have aware of cricket game, right? In which initially they worked only with the stump, wooden stump with the bales. That is the oldest concept. Now you could see that wooden stump, along with that they have embedded LED bulbs, and top also we can see the bales with LED bulbs. Once the ball hits the wicket, automatically it starts glowing and giving the identification. This patent is invented, or the core applicant of this patent is one Australian guy. He has to file in 65 countries all over the world. Think about it, wherever the cricket is being played, right? And what is the identity for him? See, in India itself, due to number of applications received and the priority of giving the entry based application, it is very hard to get patent within the shorter duration. Generally, now they have given the option for speeding up for startups and women applicants like that. But in earlier time, even they don't have the option. They need to wait for the examination has to be published. Minimum it will take 2 years to maximum 3 years, 4 years, even 5 years sometimes. That depends upon the availability of the examiners. So in this mode, due to this 153 country, this PCT mode he followed, he applied a first filing in Australia, and then he go ahead and file PCT after that stipulated time period as per the Australian patent law. After that, he got two basic identity, that is International Search Report and International Preliminary Examination Report. I will explain what it is. International Search Report, in that sense, we generally do the examination throughout the world, and as I said, this PCT has controlled by WIPO. They have 153 databases in their system, in their core thing. They have the database. So what they are doing, they will assess all the invention with 153 database. They will give one search report stating that there is your invention is cited here, or your invention may have this similarities with so and so invention. This is the search report, right? In other way around, we can call it as first examination report as issued in India. Similarly, that guy got it for his stamp invention as well. Also, he got International Preliminary Examination Report. This is the complete examination report as we give for examination for the entire country. So using these two search report and examination report, he can claim in 153 countries by giving the single application, not single application, sorry, in each and every country individual application with this supportive document as a international search report and international preliminary examination report. That is the core requirement for the applicant. He can use PCT as a nodal body. Okay, then what is the advantage? As I said, the same STEM example, assume that if he is filing a patent in one country and he has applied a patent in other country, if it takes more than 3 years or 5 years, how long he can hold? As we know very well, the life of a patent is only for 20 years as well. We cannot exceed it, right? Please be clear about it. The 20 years priority time, if you are filing in Australia, it cannot be exceeded in any of the countries. Automatically, it expires in Australia, and the priority is you are applying for each and every country that has been followed and getting done in the particular year itself. So that is the core identity what he got while he getting the patent grant in one country. By showing that to other countries, he can easily get the patent in the shortest duration over even if he required in 153 countries. That is the most important use of this PCT mode. People can get the identities in the shortest duration, or another way around we can set it as people get grant in the shortest time duration over different countries or multiple countries. So this is how the PCT helps in. He filed in almost 65 countries wherever the cricket game is being played. So based on that, he got complete protection over all 153 countries if he requires, but he got only in the 65 countries. So this is the way we can speed up our examination and he can start here in the shortest duration. Now he is getting, for each and every match or every series, that stick is used throughout the world. For sure the applicant is receiving money for it. So this mode helps us to speed up the process of getting grant in multiple countries. Can you understand? This is the important of patent corporation treaty, but it doesn't mean that it is an international patent. Please be aware of it. So the next thing is the priority date obtained by filing a PCT application is internationally recognized. Again, understand the term, it is recognized internationally, that's all, but it is not the international patent. It gives the application in 30 or 31 months to enter into various countries from international filing date or the priority date. You can understand that priority date in the sense whenever the filing is done in the host country or in the international phase. So based on this criteria, we can launch our application in various countries. As I mentioned earlier, PCT provides an international search report citing prior art, whether the invention is novel and inventive, right? That is the important thing which we can get while launching the application itself. Followed by, we have, they also provide an option for requesting an international preliminary examination report, that is patentability of invention. If we have these two as a core thing, even this helps in your national phase. I'll state in another way around. If you are getting applied for a patent in India and you also applying for this PCT search report and examination report, that adds more value to your invention. Within 6 months or 12 months time, we can get these two and we can assess our invention is better than the better scope for getting patent grant. That is the most important thing. This PCT helps us in the national level itself. Okay, and I'll mention the term NP, right? That is here I have mentioned again. PCT National Face Application. When an international application is made according to PC designating India, an applicant can file the national face application in India within 31 months from the international filing date or priority date, whichever is earlier. For example, he has some clearance time to file international filings. Minimum 6 weeks, maximum is within 31 months. So this is how the national face application works for filing the PCT mode. And here you need to understand two more parameters, or I can say two more identities, that is divisional patent or patent of addition. These two terms also very important for us. I'll give you one example. Generally, while you are developing some invention, again I'll take the simple example, that pen, you not alone stopped with developing the ink for that pen. What you would have done unknowingly, you have developed even new material for that refill as well. So, but as an inventor or as an applicant, you might not have clear understanding that this should be a two different patents, because here one more assessing criteria for patent is unity of invention. Your entire description should cover only about the single invention, not more than one invention. That is the important thing which we need to understand here. Now, as a applicant, what you would have done unknowingly, you filed both the refill novel material and the proportionate variation in chemical that is used in your ink, both combined together and file it as a single patent, right? That we have not like voluntarily did, we thought both are same, and we are unknowingly filed it as a single patent, right? What is the consequence? While assessing, they find that this is not the single invention. Patent office itself, or I can say the controller itself, give an option for the applicant. You can make it as a two different patents, right? This we call it as divisional patent or patent of division. We have an option for splitting your inventions. If at all it is not the single invention, you have an option to make it as a two or more patent applications. Because these mistakes we never planned, but unknowingly we made this without having the idea of it is of comes under two different patent. So that is the core reason why it is the option is given for dividing your application more than one or two. So what are all the key factors here you need to know? One is more than one invention. If you are filed, it can be divided. The applicant on his own or to meet the official objections may divide the application and file two or more applications as applicable for each of the inventions. So be clear and understand one thing. Even you can automatically, after a period of time, and after filing the application, after some period of time, you can understand that, oh, it comes under two different inventions. Why can't you split? You can split by yourself. That option is also available. As I have shown in the first slide, you can have the ordinary application that should be selected. Along with that, you need to tick divisional patent, and even I'll explain in detail how the content should be mentioned while drafting it as a patent. Even I'll give explanation for that. You need to give one line next to the prior art heading, you need to mention one line. This has to be comes under this divisional patent category, which already filed with the application number and the title, that you need to mention very clearly. So, and the second option, the patent office, that is official objection itself, comes to us and make the applicant to split the invention into two or more. That is the two ways wherein you can do patent of division, right? You need to understand this clearly. And this type of application divided out of the patent of one into multiple. That's why it is called as divisional application, right? We can split. It is not restricted. One patent can be divided only into two. Even you can make it more than two as well. That is the core identity we have here in for the divisional application. Next one, the priority date for all the divisional application will be same as that claimed by the parent application. This you need to understand. What do you mean by parent application? Here is the first time you are launching one application with two or more invention combined together, but the priority date always follows the parent application, because knowingly unknowingly you have disclosed entire content to the public. Because you are filing it as a complete patent, it is being disclosed in the public, so the priority can be claimed from that date itself. You cannot alter the priority date meanwhile. So this is how the divisional application can be processed. Next one, as I said, patent of addition. Here also you need to understand one thing. Even I'll give you one example for this, because patent of addition, most of them are mistaking that they are adding value. Adding value might be different patent. Please be aware of it. Patent of addition is different. Adding more value to the existing invention is different. In that case, you can go ahead and file it as a new patent itself. It doesn't require patent of addition. But where the patent of addition is really useful, assume you have made one herbal mask for COVID-19, right? That herbal mask, you have used two or three ingredients and made it as a single invention, and it is been applied for complete specification as well. This you done at the time of launching the application, but you are keep practicing that within 3 months or within 6 months, you understood that it has still one or two herbs can be included, which gives value addition to the existing mask, right? That only not completely changing the invention, but it is only value addition. Even that invention may go without that value addition itself, right? Even the first application itself gives the maximum clarity, so you don't want to go for this value addition at all. That itself becomes the better one. But clearly understood here one thing, it is just adding value, it is not enhancing the features of the mask. For example, the herb you are adding here enhancing the entire working methodology of that mask, then it is better to file it as a new patent, not to go for the patent of addition. Please be clear. Value addition can be patent of addition. Value enhancement or complete new value processing or technology wise it is completely improved, or it is therapeutically it is improved, it is not advisable to go for a patent of addition. Please be clear. Adding value is different to the existing product, and completely enhancing the product is completely different. So in value addition case, what are all the things you should do? When an applicant feels that he has come across an invention which is slight modification, understand the word slight modification of the invention for which he has already applied for or he has obtained patent, right? Even this can be applicable with shorter duration after the grant of the patent also. Okay, please be clear. And here it is the term they have used, slight modification, not the complete modification, right? Again, as I stated, it is only the value addition, not enhanced version of the existing invention. If the invention does not involve a substantial inventive step, right? For example, as I'll discuss about this novelty inventive step a little more in detail, but herein just to understand that it is not complete variation in the inventive step, but only substantial, right? Only for the minor level we are doing the modification. And you need to understand one more thing also, there is no need to pay separate renewal fee for the patent of addition during the term of the main patent. For example, I'll even give an example for this one as well, because like you are filing a patent in the year 2020, and the patent of addition you are going to file only in the year 2022, right? The fee is mandatory for this 20 years duration as per the patent office. As per the revised one, for first year and second year you don't want to pay any fees. From third year to 20th year you need to pay the renewal fee for granted patents. Please be understand that, not for the filed or published patent, only for the granted patent. In this case, the renewal fees must undergo for the period of 3 years to third year to 20th year for the main application, and it expires along with the main patent. This duration and it gets expired along with it. Please be sure about it. It also get have expired. But there is a case if it is maintained even for next 2 years, that time after only for the 2 years you need to pay the extra fees, or I can say as a main applicant patent fees you need to pay for the last 2 years additionally, right? Because you can have that priority even if, sorry, not priority, it has the identification even after the 2 years of expiry of the main patent. So this is the core thing which you need to understand in this case. Now we have concluded that what are all the things that should be understand at the first line, that is ordinary application, what is PCT application, what is convention application, and the second phase is what is provisional application. Complete I will explain a little more detail here. What is provisional application and what is divisional application and what is patent of addition. These are all the terms which we have come to the conclusion a bit. Now this is the important thing I can say. These are all the entities which you need to know clearly, because even yesterday itself you asked the question that what is the importance of inventor, what is the importance of applicant, and so on. I'll give you the three core identities with a small story. Let me give one example. Assume a company, right? Any XYZ company. There, the boss is there, right? He is calling the account manager or accountant manager, accounts department head, so that the accounts manager can be called by that company owner, and he that company boss ask who is the best performer of this month, right? Or he is asking in another way around, who gave the maximum profit to the company. That is the question raised by the boss, and accounts manager told that, sir, give me a second, I will verify with the database and I will give the updation to you. Now that accounts manager went and checked who is the best performer, and he came back to the boss and he told that so and so as the he is the or she is the best performer of this month. They gave so and so money as a profit to the company. This is the statement given by that accounts manager, right? Now the boss told to the account manager, okay, the information what you provided is done, could you please call that particular person to my cabin, right? That person also called and he came to the boss cabin, and boss told that, shall we go for outing for a shorter while? He asked the best performer of that month. They both are traveling to little distance, and finally they stopped at a particular place, and they have identified that they stopped the car and they started walking for a shorter distance near a resort, right? And the company boss said, hey, look at the resort, he told by the boss. And the best performer told, sir, that resort is very well, very good, that is very nice to look at it, and the ambience is very nice, so it is very good. So what the mindset of the best performer? So in that case, he was thinking that, okay, boss is going to present me this result. That is the reason why he asked me. So still he asked to give more explanation about the house as well. The boss, he was explaining, this is good, sir. It is accessible to road, everything. Even it is very near to our office. So it is better to have some house like this. So now this boss slowly replied that, hey, you are the best performer of the last month, right? And also I have seen you previously as well. Your performance is so good. You are working very nicely now. You are giving almost your 100% to the company. I request you to give 10 more percentage extra so that I can buy this house. If you give 110%, I can buy this house. What is the moral of the story and how it is related to the entities? These things we need to understand here. Applicant, he is termed as boss. Please be clear. Applicant is a boss, right? Best performer is the inventor, and the accounts manager is the patent agent or patent lawyer or patent attorney, right? Hope now you can relate this story with these three entities, right? Applicant is a person who has the right to file a patent for the invention in patent office. In India, the following persons get the right to file a patent for an invention in the patent office: the inventor himself, an assignee of the inventor, the legal representative of any deceased inventor or assignee. Then, what is the moral you have understood? Very simple. Applicant is a person who has full rights to sell or do tech transfer or license the product, considered he is the owner of the entire invention. He is the owner of the entire invention. But the inventor is act as the supporting role or contributing role. An inventor is an individual who has played a role in convincing the invention or as a contribution to the process of reducing the invention to the practice. This is the whole idea of the inventor. I'll give one more thing here. Then, what is the use for the inventor to develop the invention? Right? Inventor can be a applicant. There is no restriction for that. The person who is truly invented, he can be the applicant also. There is no restriction for that. But if the invention is completely sponsored by some other entities, it might be a college or it might be office or it might be a government body or whom they have some set of policies. If the outcomes are derived through our support, they can have the applicant rights, right? We need to understand clearly. But if they don't have any agreement between the person who developed that invention and the external body, it they can act as a applicant directly. The inventor has act as a applicant directly. There is no restriction until otherwise. If there is some legal identities are bond between the external agent and the inventor, right? This is the quite difference most of us we have. Inventor, for example, assume you are working for a company or a college, their complete invention money is spent by the college or industry. The invention supposed to go for the company or the college. In that case, they take the ownership. That is, they act as a applicant, right? And internally, if they have some policy, for example, this product, if we are selling out in the market, the profit can be shared in any ratio. It varies, depends upon the companies to company and in institute to institute. IITs and all, they take, IIT will take 75% and 25% to the inventor. In private organizations also, they have 60, 40, 50, 50. There are so many things they have defined. This varies on the company's IP policy. If you have any IPR cell in your organization, or if you don't have anything, but please have the IP policy for your institution. Even if you don't have any IP cell, intellectual property cell or center for IPR in your organization, don't bother about it. At least have IP policy, because any of our project can be turned out to become a IP or patent or economically viable product in this market. Please be aware of it, right? So you need to understand the terms very very clearly. Applicant is the solo responsibility or solo author or owner for any invention. And I'll give one more identity also. Applicant, there is no restriction in terms of count. Even you can add 100 applicants as a for the single invention. Similarly, inventor also you can add 100 plus, no issues about it. Even the applicant and inventors both should be same also. That is also there is a possibility, right? Please be clear about all these terms, because while filling the form, if you are making any mistakes in this order hierarchy, everything matters. And in case you have 100 applicant, the first applicant is considered to be the true inventor of the invention. He can sell the product of his own, right? Other applicants are just for the sake of invention. That's all. That is, they might be act as a inventor. But there are two cases. If you want to give license, all the applicants should sign in it. In some companies, the company during the transfer of your patent to that company, the company even requests for all the applicants to make the signature also. That is also the existing case. So overall rights is goes to the first applicant. That you need to understand very clearly, right? And the inventor can act as a supportive contributor. They can, even it is, I can say, in paper wise, this is useful for the inventor. For example, you can add it in your resume stating I have filed one patent as an inventor, and I have did one technology transfer as a inventor. But money goes to only the applicant, right? And one more thing you need to understand, if possible or if required, you are combining with 4 or 5 companies joined together, or 5 organizations combined together, filing one single patent. You can have mutual agreement among yourself. That is also possible. For example, there are 10 applicants for the invention or 10 companies for the invention. They can share the profit 10% each. That is also possible, but everything should be done prior to file the application, right? Because anything may turn out after getting grant. So it is better while filing the application itself, you can have some mutual agreement for that control over that particular invention. So I hope now you can understand. As per that story, applicant is the boss, right? Best performer is the inventor. And now I move to the third entity, that is account manager or accountant. So he is the one like a patent agent. What is the necessity of patent agent? My first question. As per the Indian government rule, invention can be drafted by inventor itself or applicant itself. There is no restriction that only patent agent or patent attorney or patent lawyer should draft. But what is the use? As we know very well, all the tax can be filed by individual, but still we require the accountant for every company or chartered accountant, or we have so many jobs related to accounts we are employing in each and every organization. Then what is the use of them? As you know very well, those people know the nuances in the accounts process, or another way around we can say, they can devise some strategy for filing to maximize the profit. In this case, that work is done by this patent agent or patent lawyer or patent attorney. Because I'll give one more addition example also here. Drafting a journal is straight away like a thing what we have derived, but herein the process goes little complex. All the derivatives are the strategy involved in patent drafting is little harder. It is, I can say, it is an art, because each and every time we cannot define it, or with a single class or a single go we cannot teach how to draft a patent. We can give the subheading and table of contents in a single go, but the identity is little different here. How to draft, even the articles used in the patent draft is most important. For example, A and D are the articles. Even it is very important to use, where to use, how to use, and when to use. Likewise, these are the more complex parameters available, because patent drafting they generally call it as techno-legal document. It is not only technical document like a journal. It involves the legal entity also. What does it mean? That's why it is termed as techno-legal. Few things or few rules and regulations is there to draft the patent. As I mentioned, articles also should be used at the exact place, or precisely we need to handle the articles also, right? So that is the reason why we are in need of patent agent or patent attorneys to file the patent. And I have even seen a question related to the fees. This is 100% decision taken by the patent agent or patent attorney, right? There is no restriction for them. It even goes up to 1.5 lakhs, 2 lakhs for the single patent application also. There is no minimum or maximum. Even they can have more than that. That depends upon the individual patent agent or patent attorney or patent lawyers, right? This is the terms or entities are most important while filing the application. Hope you have understood the consolidation of three entities, that is inventor, applicant and the patent agent, right? Now we will slowly move towards what are all the content should be there, or I can say what are all the basic items for a patent should be drafted, right? As I discussed earlier, you know what is provisional patent application. That is, it is valid only for 12 months. In that case, what are all the table of content should be there for any patent, or content should be there in any patent? First one, title of the invention. Even for this, there is set of rules and regulation how you should coin a title. Should be very clear. Coining a title also is have its own identity. We cannot give title as such, even it has restriction. I'll give some of the glimpse while proceeding towards complete specification. And second one is field of invention. And third one, background of the invention, are stated as prior art, or you can write even both background of the invention and prior art also you can write for provisional specification. Fourth one, objects of the invention, right? That is the meaning here is objectives. What is the advantages of the invention? But here we term it as objects. It really doesn't mean any object. The literal meaning here, objects is the meaning related to the advantages or objectives of this invention. Please be clear about it. Don't get confused with the term objects. It is not literal object. It is objectives. Fifth one, summary of the invention. And sixth one, drawings. Again, if it is drawing is optional as per patent rules, but if we are giving some products, novel products, it is better to have the drawings. Again, it is optional, it is not mandatory as per patent rules or act. And next one is detailed description of the invention, that you need to be understand how you need to present your complete description of the invention, followed by the claims. As I keep mentioning, this is the entirety or art of any invention. This is the core thing which is completely accessible by the patent examiners. If we are really good at writing claims, that adds excellent value to your invention. I'll give you the example also, one or two in detail. Here you need to understand one important thing. You can give at least one claim or even it is optional. It is not mandatory to give claims here for the provisional patent alone, right? Hope you got some idea how what are all the content should be presented for provisional patent filing. Now we'll move to the important thing, that is complete specification. Actually, I didn't discuss detail about complete specification. Now I'll give you some glimpse here and see. The complete specification is the one, it's valid for 20 years from date of filing. So I hope you remember initially I have shown two categories: ordinary application, provisional or complete. In this case you need to select ordinary application followed by complete specification in the form 1. I'll show what are all the forms you need to submit for complete filing as well as for provisional filing. First thing, as I mentioned, title of the invention. All these subheadings are mandatory. Again, drawing is exceptional, or I can say optional. You can, it is better to add, or else you can leave out the drawings, but it is not mandatory, right? But if it is better if you are adding and giving the proper explanations. Okay, first one, title of the invention. Whatever may be the title, it should be less than 15 words, right? You might have using thousands and thousands of uh, heavy invention in your comprised in your one invention, but your title should be less than 15 words. It is a mandatory rule by the Indian Patent Act. Next one, field of the invention. Please understand here, if people those who are in academics or even in the industry, if they ask about the field of invention, they will define the broadest field, or I can put it another way, right? If you ask any engineering field person, they may state I am belongs to mechanical engineering or electrical engineering or communication engineering. And if in industry, they may state I am belongs to maintenance department or overhauling department. But here it is totally different. What does it mean then? It means that field of invention, in that sense, it should be 100% related to your own invention is the field. For example, again I'll go to use the same example, pen. If your invention is related to pen refill, you should clearly mention that the present invention relates to the field of pen and particularly describes about the refill that is being used in the pen. Please be clear about it, because field of invention doesn't mean that it is belongs to the department or the broadest area of the scope of that invention. It is very very specific to our own invention. Please be clear while drafting. Please ensure you are not making mistakes, at least in this. Or if you are giving to some other person, you are getting back it from them, please ensure they have at least followed these subheadings as a core identity, right? Next one is background of the invention or prior art to the invention. You can use both or you can use any one. As I mentioned earlier, background of the invention means how you have arrived to this invention. You can state any related ideas, even you can include your own identification. For example, you may inspired with something, even you can include here. But in prior art only you need to mention what are all the existing inventions that is closely or relatively related to the invention you have developed. That you need to have clear difference how this could be addressed. Background is not mandatorily should be the prior art. but even prior art can be the background of the invention. Please be clear about it. Background, you can even include your own ideas also. You might be inspired from one particular invention or from journal or anything. You might come out with your own ideas from that. So that also you can mention here in background. But in prior art, you need to mention only the what are all the related inventions that are existing in various digital form. But you need to be very clear. If you want, you can use even both background of the invention separately and the prior art separately, or you can leave out only with the prior art, but prior art is mandatory for the complete specification, right? Now we are moving to the next topic, that is objects of the invention. Here you need to be very clearly mention what are all the objectives of your own invention, how this objective of the invention works, and please be clear and more specific that write objectives of your own invention. For example, don't write the general advantage of that particular product or invention. Again, I'll go to the pen and explain so that you can easily follow up. So for example, pen is used to writing or pen is used for writing. That is not the primary objective of your invention. What is your primary objective? The ink that you have changed, the chemical composition or something you have changed. What is the advantage of changing that chemical composition? That you need to be highlighted as a primary objective. Maybe that ink lasts for longer duration, or that may have better writing efficiency. Likewise, the object should be clearly specified how that could be more related or most related to our own invention. Please don't write the generic advantages of any invention. Please be clear about it. Don't do that. Write only the specific advantage of your own invention. Next one is summary of the invention. Herein you need to understand clearly that whatever you are going to explain in detailed description part, you need to concisely draft at this point, right? I'll give explanation for that while even addressing the detailed description portion. Here you can understand that in detailed description part, whatever you are writing, that can be concisely comprised as a summary of the invention, right? The sixth one is drawings. As I said earlier, drawings are not 100% mandatory as per Indian Patent Law or Act, right? It is not a mandatory one, but as I said, if you are using it, that adds more value, or if it easy for the examiner to understand, better to go ahead along with the drawings for any products. That is the core identity of drawings, right? The next one is detailed description of the invention. Here you can write like entire content of the invention. Most of them have doubts here. Generally I receive these doubts. People ask whether I can include the test results here or not. If you feel it is important, please add it, right? Because the test results is always the supportive document that is required or enhancing the easy way of understanding your invention. It is better to include the in identity or test results here in the detailed description. Whatever you are giving, completely write it. For product invention, you can include the test results. Even for the process also you can include, there is no restriction. But one thing which I would like to highlight here, if it is a process invention, please give at least one example how that works, because you might have derived the complex process, but it is not easily understand by everyone, right? In that case, what you need to do, you need to give one example. For example, adding this much amount of chemical composition will give this novel product, which may again use it as a better product, or you can say that can be used for so and so product that enhances the efficiency of that particular product. You should be very clear that whatever the process patent, for sure you need to give one example. That is better, but it is not mandatory, but it is better to understand, right? And as I was keep mentioning, for complete specification, the claims are most important, right? And here there are different types of drafting claims. I'm not going in detail about all the types, but I'll just want to highlight two main types. One is independent claim, and another one is dependent claim. As the word stated, independent claim is not in allied with any of the other claims. Better to start any invention or any patent drafting with independent claim, right? It is better to open up with a independent claim, and followed by we can have all other dependent claims, right? What is the advantage of having independent claim and dependent claim? If you have independent claim, there is no connection to other claims, so it cannot be affect while rejecting the other claims. For example, if I have given four claims totally, and first is the independent claim followed by three dependent claims. If in case the independent claim is completely eliminated or rejected, all the dependent claims are considered to be rejected. But if all the dependent claims are cancelled, it doesn't mean that independent claim also being rejected. Hope it is clear. Independent claim has better identification, but it doesn't mean you need to write all four or five claims as an independent claim itself. That depends on again how many inventions or how many component that is being used in your invention also matters over here, right? We cannot simply derive the independent claims as we like. That is also be in a considerative part, right? And finally we have abstract. Abstract, again, it is completely the concise output of your claims. All the claims can be converged and write it in the form of a abstract, and it is mandatory that your abstract should be less than 150 words. As such, we cannot write as many as we want, right? And it is a concise output of claims. Then you might have a question, then what is your claim and what is there in detailed description? In detailed description, all the test results, data, related informations can be given in detailed description. But in claims, you need to give only what are all the specific identities of your own invention should be in the claims. We cannot claim anything that you have not described also. That is, if you have not described in detailed description, we really don't have any rights to claim in claims part. Please be clear. That is why it is stated as detailed description. Your invention can be expressed as detailed as you can. But in claims part, what are all the core thing which you can claim? That is, it is what are all the important things for the invention only those things should be claimed, right? Please be clear about it. That we call it as fair disclosure, right? Because you are disclosing whatever you have already derived or given the detailed description, only you are relating with the claims. That is a term we use, fair disclosure of the invention. And please don't restrict yourself in writing the detailed description. Please give as much information as you can, because these mistakes even I did at the initial phase of drafting my patents. I'll give detailed description only one paragraph or two paragraphs, whatever I have given and I have claimed in the claims part. But while the examination reports are pop up are coming in, it is we can understood that we cannot alter the claims as per the detailed description. Even the invention go waste because of unfair disclosure of the claims. Another way around, detailed description is not fairly sufficient to bring out the data, right? Please be clear about it. So these are all some complex parameters which you need to understand before writing drafting any patents. And specific hint I would like to emphasize about drawings. As I mentioned, drawings are not mandatory, but still, if you are using drawings, that is better understanding is provided to the examiners. Okay, then how the drawing should looks. Drawing should have only the parts mentioned with the numbers, not like journals. You shouldn't mention all the parts over there. For example, the overall pen has been given, and you shouldn't mention put an arrow mark mentioning it as a refill, nib, and so on. No content description should be there in the drawings. Only the number identification should be there in the drawings. And one more thing, these number identification should be the emphasized or cited inside the detailed description, claims, as well as in the abstract. Please be clear. Whatever the drawings you are mentioning it, that should be completely has citation in the detailed description part, claims part, as well as in the abstract part. Please ensure this. Don't go or don't give simply some thousand numbers in the diagrams, in various diagrams, and you are citing one or two in the description. That is not the fair disclosure, right? If it is 1,000 words or 1,000 parts you have mentioned, all those 1,000 parts should be mentioned in the detailed description. That is easy for you to give the better identity for drawings, right? Now we slowly move towards the different forms that is available, right? Different forms that is available in patent, only specific to patents. How do we get this forms? It is available in the Indian Patent Office website itself. You don't want to go and search anything outside the Indian Patent Office website. In simple words, in Google search, if you type patent forms and fees directly, it takes you to the view what I am showing it on the presentation. That is, you can see different types of forms easily downloadable in the PDF format, right? Even you can have small explanation for all those forms. I'll just give one or two for your identification. First one, application for grant of patent, that is form number 1. Whether it is a provisional patent or complete patent specification, that is form number 2. Statement and undertaking under section 8, form number 3. This is very specifically for foreign filing, right? Request for extension of time. In few cases the government allow you to extend your patent application time. You can use the form number 4 for that. And fifth one, declaration as to inventorship, form number 5. Likewise, it keeps going up to form number 30, right? Up to 30 forms we can keep running, and up to 29 we can use for specific purpose as mentioned in the purpose, right? But form number 30, if there is no form is available for you, in that case you can download form 30 and communicate. Why you need to understand this? Because all the communication, if you are making to the patent office, it should be in the form of forms, right? With supportive documents like letters can be attached, but it is mandatory that if there is form should be the co-accompany for every request or any form of communication, we required a form, right? That is the reason why even they have given form number 30. If any other form is not available, you can use this form to communicate with patent office, right? So likewise we can have 30 different forms to communicate to the patent office. Okay, now I'll narrow down to specific forms should be used for filing a provisional patent and complete patent specification, right? Mandatorily these forms should be the part of filing procedure. Please be clear, right? Whatever may be the application you are going to launch, for sure these forms are mandatory, right? First one, provisional filing. As we discussed earlier, it is valid only for 1 year or 12 months. After that automatically it gets lapsed. And also literally some may use this as idea patent, but it is a colloquial term. It is not advisable to use idea patent because it is not only the idea, it is implementable idea. So better don't use that word idea patent. And it should be a convertible idea, can be file it as a provisional patent. Okay, what are all the mandatory forms that should go along with provisional filing? As I have displayed, there are 4 forms which should go along with provisional patent filing. That is, form number 1, application for grant of patent. Form number 2, provisional or complete specification. Here we should strike out the complete, use only the provisional specification, or you can strike out the complete, you can give a tick mark over the provisional specification. Form number 3, as I mentioned over there, it is undertaking. Undertaking of what? Undertaking of foreign filing particulars. For example, this application can be filed even over any foreign nation or any other country. Those details should be given in detail with the live status of it, whether it is published or examination is done or it is granted or the product has been marketed. All those information should be specifically highlighted in this form 3, right? And next one is form 5. This is declaration as to inventorship. As we know, the 3 entity, applicant, inventor and the legal representative or patent agent. Here you are declaring that these are all my inventors by the applicant. Knowingly, unknowingly, all the inventors are accepting that these are all my applicants. As I was previously mentioned, these are all the particular owners for this invention, because applicant has the full rights, as you know very well. So, and another important question, sir, what is the fees for this? Government fees for form 1 is, if you are submitting it as an hard copy, it is 1000 100 and 1750 rupees only, right? And if you are submitting over the online, that is e-submission, e-filing, that is only 1600 and 600 rupees, 10 percentage less than the general filing through hard copy version, right? Because they reduce some 10 percentage to encourage more and more e-filing, because to avoid the printouts or hard copies, right? So these other forms like form 2, form 3 and form 5 doesn't have any charges. Those files doesn't have any charges at all, right? Only form 1, if you are filing provisional, the government filing fees is only 1750 rupees is the maximum, right? Let me move towards the complete filing forms details as well, right? As we know very well, it is valid for 20 years from the date of filing. First four forms are similar: Form 1, Form 2, Form 3 and Form 5 are similar as per the provisional filing. There is no difference in it. All are same forms. Followed by, we are using an additional form, that is form number 18. This is request for examination. Here it is not like a simple procedure we are filing, and it is mandatory by the patent office to examine your application. Herein, this form 18 also have some fees: 4000 rupees for e-filing for individual, and particularly 4400 for hard copy submission for individual. I'll introduce you other parameters here: individual, startups, small entities and large entities. This individual and startup need to pay the same fees. That is, as I mentioned, for application for individual it is 4000, but if it is a small entity it is goes up to 8000 and 12,000 for larger entities or others. So likewise it keeps varying. Individual fees, this is the strategy. Always individual fees is less than small and large entities. And followed by, we need to understand one more thing also, that is individual filing and company filing or large entity filing, there is no difference in terms of examination or processing. All are comes under the same category. But as a startup, if you are filing in India, your examinations can be speed up, right? Instead of filing form 18, they can submit form 18A, also one form to claim it as a startup also. If they are doing that, the examination process can be speed up. Generally, it takes maximum 2 to 3 years. That is the time period to receive the examination. That is, we call it as FER, first examination report. And generally, mostly like 2 3 years back, we'll get SCR also, subsequent examination report. But now directly they are going for online defense. That is, online means even you can defense through video conferencing mode also. It is not mandatory to go to the patent office to defend your application. Even over the video conferencing you can give the defense. So this is the fees liable behind this. And in addition, I would like to introduce here is form number 9, that is for yearly publication of your application. That is, all the patents application, it takes 18 months to get published, right? But herein we can alter the, or we can speed up the publication time within 2 weeks and maximum of 3 months time period. Most of your applications get published. but for that we need to pay the extra fees. Again, hard copy submission for individual is 2750 rupees to speed up the publication time. And what is the importance of publication of patent documents? For example, if your patent is getting granted and your invention is infringed by someone else or copied by someone else, we can claim only after it is published. Publication is can be accessed by any public. It is a public domain document. Anyone can access it. Anyone can look at it, view it, and they can download it. They can find. It is indirectly mean that they have copied your work only after publication. From that time, we can claim whatever money earned through our invention, through filing a case or suing that particular company. So this is the mandatory requirement of publication of any patent. And there are two more terms also. We term it as pre-grant opposition and post-grant opposition. We don't want to go in detail about those things. Once it is in the public domain, if you are finding that that invention is closely related to yours, you can go ahead and file a pre-grant opposition. Even there is a form for that, right? Similarly, for post-grant opposition, your patent got granted within 1 year time period, you can oppose it, stating that this is my own invention. I didn't notice. After the grant only I have noticed. Within 1 year, you can go ahead and oppose them using the post-grant opposition procedure or provision, right? So this is the entire content involved in filing a provisional patent or complete patent specification. Here some of the forms, I just want to show it for your own understanding. I have given all the description about these forms earlier. Now you can easily see that the form 1, that is application for grant of patent. As I have mentioned in column 2, you can see this is form 1. You can even identify that. Here you can see type of applications. Please tick at the appropriate category. As I mentioned, it is ordinary application, convention application, followed by PCT/NP, that is Patent Corporation Treaty National Phase. You could see under ordinary there are two subdivisions: divisional, patent of addition; convention, again divisional and patent of addition; PCT, again divisional or patent of addition. First time we are going to file a patent, as I said, just to give a tick mark near the ordinary application. There is no divisional or patent of addition. Again, you need to fill the applicant detail, nationality, residence of the particular country, and the address of the applicant. Similarly, all these things are self-explanatory. You can see the category of applicant. I have mentioned individual. Individual, here they have mentioned as natural person, nothing more than that. So you can give a tick. Or other than natural person, there are three entities. One is small entity, startup, and others. Small entity, we can term it as the companies with some restricted number of people and restricted turnovers. Those are termed to be small entities. Startup, there is some restriction. It should be within 5 years from the inception. Once the company should be started within 5 years, and the company is completely run by the technology based outcomes, or I can say techno product should be the main category of that particular company, followed by others category, which is larger entities which has more and more turnovers. So likewise, each and every form is self-explanatory. You can easily fill it up. So this is form 2. You can see whether it is provisional or complete filing. Again, I have given the explanation for this You can see the title of the invention, applicant, and you need to tick the provisional column, strike out the complete column. Here also you can tick the provisional and strike out the complete, and fill and submit to the patent office. Third one, as I mentioned, form number 3, statement and undertaking under section 8. This is for foreign filing particulars. You can see name of the country, date of application, application number, status of the application, date of publication, and the date of grant. See, these details should go along with form number 3. Followed by we have form number 5. It is for declaration as to inventorship. Right here again, the applicants are the core personality. Name of the applicants you need to write here, name of the inventors, stating that these applicants are giving identities to inventors, not another way around. Inventors are declaring by the applicants. Please be clear about this. It is mandatory thing you need to know clearly, right? Name of the applicant should be clearly identifying the inventors for his or her own invention. Filing and giving the signatures, and you need to submit. The next one is form number 18. Generally, it is better to submit at the initial phase, or we can have even 3 months time period to submit, and it may extend even up to 6 months or 12 months. That depends upon the application processing time. It is better to submit all together at form number 18 as well. This is for request for examination. You can see the form number 18, request / express request for examination. Right, as I mentioned, as an individual we can go ahead and file only request for examination, but only startup companies, and now recently the rules has been amended. Even women applicants can go ahead and file it for express application. Right, they can speed up the examination process. Right, so that you know very well, I told you can use form 18A separately instead of using the form 18. How this might be the curious one, you may need to understand. For example, there are 4 or 5 applicants. Among those 5 applicants, 1 or 2 are women applicant. Assume in that case, based on them you can go ahead and file it as a request for examination, that is express request for examination. You can speed up your examination process. Generally, examination process last minimum of 2 years to 3 or 4 years, depends upon the volume of the application received by the patent office of that particular department. But in these specific cases, we can request the examination, or you can increase or speed up the examination process by filing this form 18A. Right, and this is applicable in recent times for women applicants also, but it has not been the case earlier. Now they have introduced this additional provision for women applicants also. They also can request the patent office to speed up the process. Right, again you need to give the contents here, applicant name, nationality, address, and you need to give the invention title over here, and so on. It is very easy. Most of the forms are self-explanatory. You yourself can go ahead, and I'll consolidate whatever we have discussed so far in patent filing, or we can say filing procedure or drafting procedure. We have to start with, we understood few entities, that ordinary application, PCT application followed by convention application. Among us, we found two categories. That is, first category provisional filing and second category is complete filing. Followed by all this, we have seen two different identities, that is divisional patent and patent of addition. Among us, we have seen the three categories of or three entities who can file the patent application. Number one, we started with inventor and we have seen applicant, followed by we have seen the patent agent or patent lawyer or patent attorneys. We totally call them as legal representatives. These can be approved by the Indian government, right? Followed by we have seen what are all the content should be there in patent application for both provisional filing as well as for complete patent filing, and what are all the mandatory forms that should be submitted for provisional patent filing and complete patent filing. For provisional, form 1, form 2, form 3 and form 5, and for complete patent filing, form 1, form 2, form 3, form 5, form 18. You can even see the some of the patent forms that is been taken from the patent office website itself. As I told, you can download all the forms from Indian Patent Office website, that is ipindia.nic.in. Directly you can go to this forms page. In Google search, just type what is that patent forms and fees. It can directly take you to the ipindia.nic.in link where the forms and fees are mentioned. Right now, the forum is left to you for question and answer. You can ask questions. I'll ready to answer for it.